till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome into Pregaming here on Sports Money. You'll find us here Monday to Friday at 6 p.m. Going to serenade you guys right into our live stream tonight. March Madness opening night on a Thursday. You know we're rolling live tonight. Going to have the fellas here. Going to be talking some best bets. We're going to talk about some tournament outlooks. We'll talk about all things in the world of sports with a keen focus on that 7:20 window. That is popping off. We'll have Texas A&M and Yale. We'll have Drake in Missouri. What else will we have? We'll have all kinds of things going on. We'll have all kinds of, the 9 p.m. slate will be rolling with us as well. We'll be talking about those games. We've got the NHL, packed card in the NHL. The NHL does not care that it is March Madness, so that's exciting. We've got, just a 4 or 5 game slate in the NBA. So we'll talk about that. We got some plays out there, a lot of late night stuff. So that's exciting. Going to be a fun night. We'll talk about golf. You know, we're going to look for some golf round matchups as they complete this tournament, round 1 down there in Innisbrook. Fine place to play. Fine place to stay in Innisbrook. What else is happening here? Well, March Madness is happening. How about that? How about just 4.4% of all the brackets filled out are still alive? Just 4.4%. Thank you to the fine folks at McNeese. McNeese, number 12, upsets Clemson. There I go. That's why I do not talk about games 3 days in advance. Blame it on me. Blame it on me. But I'll tell you what, we got a new candidate for the poop list, and it's ACC. The whole ACC. Oh, every single one of them. Louisville got me earlier this morning. They lost by 14 points. Clemson, you know, they came back in the second half, so I did make some of that cash back, but that hurt my bracket. That hurt my bracket with Clemson. Now what I'm going to need is the 2 most public teams out there, Duke and Florida, to lose to get back in this thing. Other notable games of interest out there, Purdue and the under. Despite the public-heavy moves that have taken place in college basketball thus far, High Point was one of the most public moves out there, and they got busted up. They got busted up start to finish. Wisconsin downs Montana. Tight game, tight line, tight spread. They get the cover. Auburn bangs on Alabama State. We knew that was going to happen. Alabama State completed that Hail Mary. The 16 seed comes out there, plays against the number 1 Auburn, and gets down by 20 points. Houston comes through for us. Houston, 38-point win. Sometimes you can't be afraid to go dunk all those points out there. Sadly, they did not cash the under 126.5. But hey, that's March Madness. That's how it rolls here. So it's going to be fun. Lots of games tonight. The evening slate will pop off here at 6:50 with Wofford and Tennessee. Here's an important thing to know. If you're getting betting advice from guys that can't pronounce these teams, probably shouldn't do it. Just recommending. Now, I say that with that being said, my UFC tutelage has been getting better, but you guys know what we do in the UFC. It's proven winning week in and week out. It's Wofford. Also, if you hear anybody say Xavier, stop following him. The X is a Z. Like exhibit X to the Z, Xavier. That's how they pronounce that one. Just so we're all on the same page. And let's see if I can find any others that make sense to talk about in that fashion. Oregon, not Oregon, Oregon. And why that's important is because if you're hearing somebody mispronounce those college basketball names, they don't know. They don't watch the teams. There's a simple little capper's trick. If they can't pronounce the team name, they don't watch these teams. Because you only have to hear it once to realize it's Xavier. Not Xavier. Xavier. So, that's betting lesson for the day. Make sure your capper can pronounce that college team name. Not very hard. But if they've never heard Wofford before, you're going to be taking advice on whether or not you're going to go out there and take 18.5 points. Now, that being said, I mentioned my names in goaltenders. My names in last names in general, I think, are a little bit different, right? Last names are just a little bit different. So, AOD says Xavier. No, Xavier. The X is like a Z. X to the Z. And I think Xavier is one. The reason I pick on Xavier is because I think I'm going to take them as my new dark horse here to at least get to the Elite Eight. I think they looked pretty solid yesterday. And yeah, I like what I saw. I like what I saw from start to finish. I don't like what I see BYU and VCU. BYU is dunking on these boys. They busted them up in the first half. If you can't pronounce BYU, probably shouldn't be tailing that person. They can't pronounce VCU, probably shouldn't be tailing that person. 75-63. Georgia and the Zags, 62-45. The Zags are handling 8 and 9. Tight little bracket out there as well. So lots of fun. Lots moving around. We've got the March Madness bracket underway. We had 32 entries. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do that with us. First strike came out last night. A little bit late. An hour past when I wanted it to come out. It's my fault. I missed about a 2-second blip at the very intro before we kicked off with Jeff drinking a cocktail and then the intro. So I felt like I had to go back and edit that out of there. Just for what's right is right. But First Strike is out there. VB MMA Pick Show is out there. We've got 8 bets between those two shows for for the UFC on Saturday. We'll pop off live around 12:30 p.m. It's a 115 fight card. That means there's a lot of work that has to go into tomorrow night to cap and scrub these lines, these games. And of course, Kevin Carrier will be popping off Saturday night for the LFA out there in Mohegan Sun. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, where is he? I know he's somewhere. I know he's fighting. And it's a rematch or a reschedule from the opponent that he was supposed to face last month in Seneca, Niagara. So, lots going on. Lots of moving parts. We got 14 games or so left in the NBA before the playoffs. We got about 12 games left or so in the NHL before the playoffs. Baseball starts in a week. Official first pitch of the Major League Baseball new season, minus those Japan Series games, will start in a week. So it's an exciting time to be involved in sports. Like I said, we're going to pop off here at about 7:15. So about 1 hour. 1 hour, we'll hydrate, and then we'll dehydrate. Let's go, you guys. Let's see. Yesterday, let's analyze what's been working for us. I got a new clip. I'm going to write down. Not a goddamn thing's been working. You guys know what movie that's from? Come on. Let's see. Hey, oh boy. Didn't give it out to you. I gave it to you guys. I just didn't give it out to you guys official. Was that Minnesota and the under. And then I got 2 cocktailed with the First Strike to send it out there officially. So it cashed. But the reason I bring it up is that same angle is back in play tonight. So we're going to parlay a side and a total. Cashed it last night. Going to cash it again tonight. What else? Xavier and Bradley. Speaking of Xavier, 86-80 over Texas. Minus 2.5 point win. Never in doubt. Never in doubt for that game. Bradley spanked Northern Alabama. They ended up winning by 9 with a minus 4.5. Never in doubt. FAU, big time doubt. They were getting thumped. They ended up getting thumped 86-79. First of all, it was NIT. Second off, we tried to play the angle. Does Dayton really care? Because they got fucked on their home court is what happened. They're the 1 seed, and they're playing down in FAU. They did care, and they thumped them boys. So 2-1 in college hoops. NBA did not go our way 0-2. 0-3 in the NBA yesterday. Ugh. OKC whacked. Should have just stuck with OKC. Under 227.5 gets to 233. Detroit minus 4.5. They win by 3. And then Memphis gets busted up by Portland. Might have to start looking at Portland in a serious manner. I'm going to tell you guys, I have a big bet tonight. I have a big bet. We're going to be live streaming for it. So I'm excited about it. And we've got some action. We've got 4 games in the NHL I'm going to share with you guys, including that same game parlay. I believe it pays out plus 263 if we can get the cash home. And I expect we will. We've got Colorado and Ottawa. Big spot there. Big undefeated trend in that one. Florida and Columbus. You know what day of the week it is. And, of course, we'll finish off with Montreal and the Islanders. Early action so that we can clear the slate and bang away at those 10 p.m. games. We'll give you guys some parting gifts as we shut down the live stream for that late night action. Drake and Missouri will be the college basketball game that we're going to watch live and focus in on. Of course, we're going to give you a bet there. And Utah State and UCLA will be a 9:30 college basketball tip-off. We'll talk about that play. Then we'll move over to the NBA. Just 2 plays in the NBA. Small card anyways. I'm not in love with the move on some of these. I'll tell you right now, I like the Hornets. And I've liked the Hornets a bunch. So I can't do it to you guys. I can't do it to you. I like the Raptors. And I like the over in that Raptors and Golden State game. But it's the Raptors. It's 14.5 points. It's a lot of points. And we've got reverse line movement on the total, so I couldn't get there. But we're going to talk about the Bulls and the Sacramento Kings. We'll talk about the Bucks and the Lakers. And by then, it's pour out the cocktails and let's get to some cash. So let's go. Appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out here tonight. It's that time of the show. Most important piece that we can do here. We appreciate you guys. We're viewer supported. We need your voice to be heard. Your voice comes by way of your thumb. Smack that thumbs up button. You close the chat. You hit the thumbs up. You pop the chat back open. And then we'll get back to work. Shout out to our enhanced members. We love you guys. Appreciate everybody being a part of what we're doing here. Kind of surprised with over 200 members. Only 32 looking to get into a free March Madness bracket. But we appreciate all you guys coming in and ready to roll. Share your best bets in the chat. Get the pen and paper out. They are here. They are assembled. They've been marinating on this card all day. And they're going to share their best bets with us right now. It's going to pop off with our commenter numero uno. And it's Jover. Jover's got Tampa and Dallas. Ballsy SOB. Over 5.5 in that game. Let's go, Jover. We'll see Jover tonight. He'll be live with us. Gerald Jones got his best bets, 24-14. He's looking at Arkansas +5. I love that spot. I didn't get there for an official, but I love that Arkansas spot. I think it's a good go Hogs, man. Let's go Hogs. Shout out to Trisha M. She's here ready to roll. Nicholas Handy's here. Redbeard says Duke wins it. The 2 most popular picks, Duke and Florida. And you remember what I said about those top 20 offense, top 30 defense. Both them boys were in there. Both them teams were in there. Shout out to Bobby Max in the house. Big Scott. This is live from Reno. Waiting to hear the Pimps play so I can pimp slap the bookies, smash that fucking like button. Well said, my dude. And good luck. The biggest little city in the world. Isn't that what they say about Reno? Go get them. Get that money, my dude. Gerald Jones says on the Gators to win the chip. We'll see what Texas A&M does tonight because I'm rolling with them and I'm going to roll with Xavier. Well, I'm already rolled with Texas A&M. I'm looking at Xavier. Xavier. X to the Z. Xavier. Timmy Tushu. USA footballer Christian Pulisic for a goal versus Panama in less than an hour, bro. Let's go. USA versus Panama. Concava, I believe. A little Concava action. That'll be some fun to talk about tonight. Oldies here, ready? Let's go. Cameron Sinnett. This is thank you for all the Clemson money. Soft ass motherfuckers. The ACC. You know, I mentioned that to start. Like last week, I think I was talking about how bad the ACC. I mean, it's just obvious, but they just don't match up. Gerald Jones likes Zags. Georgia over 150 heavy. Shout out to AOD. He's ready to roll. Timmy Tushu says Canadian footballer Jonathan David for a goal versus Mexico later tonight. All right. All right. I'm down, Timmy Tushu. Let's go. Dana Delp's rocking with the spoon bets. Let's go. Cameron Sinet says Xavier smashes and grabs tomorrow. I agree. What's nice about it, too, is if we can find them as a dog price and just kind of ride them like a show pony all the way through. Let's see. Pete says, sup, Mikey? Yep, exactly that butchery. Big Scott says, straight up, pimp. I don't even watch all these shit teams, but I do know their shitty names. Dude, it's like the simplest thing in the world, right? If they can't pronounce them, they've probably never seen them before, or at least it's a fraud check. It's a fraud check. You know, it's a fraud check. Now, you know, it's a fraud check. We'll just leave it at that. AOD says Pistons. Let's go. Redbeard says buy it. Dana Delp. Chumps is how disappointing. Cameron says his only L on today's card is looking like it's going to be Georgia spread. Can't win them all. Man, I had a tough go of it early today. I cashed a couple unders. Remember what's in play. Remember I talked to you guys about this. What's in play with these college basketball tournaments? If the games get delayed by 15 or more minutes, the unders have been cashing at a 70% rate. So let's just take a quick fact check here today. Let's take a look. I kind of remember some of these numbers off the top of my head. I know Wisconsin got themselves in the delay. That cashed the under. Purdue and High Point started at 12:30, so that was negligible. Clemson and McNeese did start 15 minutes late. 136. I think that cashed the under. Auburn and Alabama. I checked out of that game. That number was too high. I don't even think I looked at it. I did take Alabama State in the first half, plus 19.5. I thought that was fucking stupid. Gonna lay 3 touchdowns. I think the Houston game did get delayed. It was tight. It was 128, but it was 126.5. Actually, it went up to 127.5, so it was tight. Could have got a nice live number, too. I think that thing went up to 145 live. Remember, I was saying that, too. Look for these things. If they're 15 minutes late, here's the formula. We're going to check the shit out of these. I'm going to start writing them all down. We're going to look for the games that start, not the first games. We know those aren't going to start 15. Well, most likely they're not going to start 15 minutes late. But after those first games, let's write the totals down. Let's keep our eyes on these totals. And if we can find a live spot where the game moves up 10 points from the opening number, let's see if we can't live bet those and crack away at them. See what that strategy pays us in terms of dividends. You ain't hearing anybody talk about that. That's what we do here. We're innovators. We're the tip of the spear, the edge of the knife, as they say. Let's get to work. Peter says too much vodka is the only acceptable excuse. Let's go. Kinks here, each every stride. Let's have ourselves a night. We certainly will. Timmy Two-Shoe, I'm liking the draw for the Jets Oilers. No Draisaitl, 50th tonight. I like the under of the Jets. Keep my eye on that game. Cameron Snett says this Michigan line has scared him off of it. Timmy Two-Shoe says Sacramento Kings will no-show big time tonight after killing all them parlays last night, plus 6.5 bulls. Looks like you guys are ready to go. You guys are, you guys agree with me on this name thing, right? With the exception of last names. It's okay with last names, especially if they have like 8 vowels in it. It's okay, you get a pass. I'll give you the pass. But you know, if you're looking out and you're seeing, what do we got tomorrow? Let's fraud check some sons of bitches tomorrow. Are there any other ones out there? I mean, it's pretty much we covered them. Norfolk State. If they're going Norfolk, isn't it Norfolk? Norfolk. We'll see. I bet a lot on Norfolk. I remember that with Canisius when people were saying Canisius. All right, I'm not betting your game. I'm not tailing you. It's Canisius, shithead. Anyways, we can make fun of people all night long. So, in a nice way, in a full respectful way. UConn, Oklahoma's got my eye tomorrow for the UConn spot, and there's Xavier playing Illinois. Since I was looking ahead, and we're going to get plus 3.5 points right now on that Xavier spot. So, keep our eyes on it. Let's keep our eyes on it. I just hate on the public, Trisha M. I don't hate the Gators. I just don't like anything that's so public. You know, I can't get there. Now, we saw it with the NFL. We saw it with college basketball. Norfolk. That's what I saw. Norfolk. Yep. The L. There's no L. It's a W. All right, you guys. Let's get there. Let's get this thing going. We've talked enough smack. Let's talk some dubs. I know it's March Madness. I know everybody wants to fire away. There's so much unpredictability with the NIL, especially that I got to go back to home base, and home base for me are the NHL battles that we have out there. I said 3 weeks left until the playoffs pop off. Actually, just about a month. So we got some interesting matchups here. Washington and Philly will play again. What feels like the 100th time those two teams have played. It's going to be Lindgren in goal. And remember, this is that time of season where they will be testing young guys to see, do they have what it takes to play in the NHL? They'll be on 15 games more than they've played in their entire careers. And the Flyers definitely fall into that category here. Sammy Ersson will go out there against Charlie Lindgren. Flyers are too stupid to know they should be losing. And Torts won't let them quit. So that scares me. That scares me considerably. And you know, we called that Calgary Flames game the other day when everybody was taking the Rangers in regulation. I'm seeing a lot of Devils in regulation action tonight. Some sharp bettors that I respect, or at least that I keep my eyes on so I can fade their asses. Love this Devils team in regulation tonight. Calgary needs these games. Devils, not so much. They're rotating goalies because they just don't care. Their backups are, Jake Allen's outplaying Jacob Markstrom. This is where I said before, the backup goaltenders aren't just punts. The backup goaltender for New Jersey is playing better than the starter. Put the starters back in tonight. And look, Markstrom has allowed 6 goals in 2 of his last 3 outings. This is a great price tag for the Calgary Flames. Plus 150. That's a really great price tag. And, they beat up them Rangers 2-1. They had their backup in goal in Vladar. How about that? We'll fact check that I'm not full of shit. I mean, I probably am, but respectfully, they're going back to their starter. And, I guess. I mean, he's 22, 14, and 5. They need this game. Should be a really great spot to go out there and take advantage. But the official game I'm going to pop off with here, game number 1, I'm going to look at this Rangers and Leafs spot. Right? Just want to make sure I'm looking at the right one. There's a whole bunch of 7s. Holy cow. Stolars and Shesterkin. Stolars goes because last night they started Wool. Wool played out there and they beat, man. We've heard of bad ref calls that ruin games, right? I don't know if you watched the end of that Toronto game. The ref falls down, stops the puck. Toronto's guy picks it up, skates down and scores in overtime and busts him up. Game over. Toronto gets the W. That was some shit, man. That was some shit. But anyhow, it was Wool. He did his job. He's got let 1 goal in out there. Now they're going back to Stolars. The backup, 13-8-3, 2.39 goals against average, 91.8% save percentage. Second leg of a back-to-back with no rest. And what's on the other side? Shesterkin, their number 1 goaltender. 23, 24, and 4. Rangers have lost 2. Fighting for the wild card spot. Now they need this. And what do we have? Let's be short, sweet, and to the point. Now that I've talked about these goaltenders and their situations in previous games. Well, Shesterkin had a big game. Despite the fact that it's a 2-1 loss, 33 of 35 saves against them Calgary Flames. So what do we got going on here? This is that favorite situation. When you've got the favorite between minus 110 and minus 200, and you're playing an unrested opponent on the second leg of a back-to-back. That's the spot that Minnesota was in yesterday. Minus 110 to minus 200. No rest. Total under 6.5. 51 and 28 are the sides. 22 and 53 to the under are the totals. Again, 4-0 was that score last night. We also have a flip side of things here when you're looking at a team that's off of a home win, now a road dog with no rest. They are 8 and 22, and they are 6 and 20 to the under. It's a Rangers and under spot. That is going to be how we open the card off with the same game parlayage. Plus 263. You can get the Rangers at minus 130. It's fine. Tight game. I expect this thing to be a 2-2, 3-2 kind of overtime situation. Both teams are going to be battling for points, but the Rangers got to go all in. If the Rangers do fall down, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull that goaltender a little bit earlier than you might normally see because they need these points tonight, and it's a get-it spot. It's a get-right spot. Everything lines up for us. We'll take the Rangers. We'll take the under 5.5. We'll take a plus 263 to start the card off, to start my card off. You guys have already started your card off. Shout out to Nasty Nate. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope your travels are doing well. Let's go. Justin McKelvey. Damn, whoa. No. You're going to die on that hill. It's a public favorite. It's tough. It might win, but it's a public favorite. And that's not where you'll find me. So anyways, that being said, I'm taking a favorite in the Rangers at minus 130. I parlayed it with the under 5.5. Under 5.5 plus 105. Slap together to get yourself a plus 263. Game number 2, we're going to roll on. We're going to go Colorado. We're going to go Ottawa. We're going to look at this spot because, again, we got the second leg of a back-to-back. Do we just blindly fade at Colorado off of that heartbreaking loss? They got Scotty Wedgwood starting in goal. 10-6-1, 2.49 goals against average, and 90.6% save percentage. Ottawa, damn right, Leanis. We know that Ottawa had a 6-game win streak that got snapped the other night by the Montreal Canadiens. 6-3. They got busted up. And it was Allmark that got busted up. That dude allowed 4 goals on 31 shots. And they're going right back to him. My thought there is they're punting this game because they know that Colorado is in a perfect trend situation. Specific to, look, road favorites that lost on the road after a home game. So they were home, they lose on the road, and they're now a road favorite. Doesn't happen often, but those teams find themselves in a 5-0 position. They find themselves 3-1-1 to the over. They also find themselves at 5-0 on the puck line. In other words, they whip that first game on the road and they fire it back up in game number 2, is what this trend tells us. And it does tell us you should be looking at this Colorado Avalanche minus 1.5. Now, I'm not going to go there because I don't need to get greedy. We talked about this before. Sometimes you don't want to go the minus 2.5s and 3.5s because you can catch a reasonable number. And I think at Colorado Avalanche, sitting at minus 115 is a pretty damn reasonable number. Now, if you want to sprinkle a little bit more, maybe you take a minus 1. You know, we always talk about the plus 1. Maybe you take it a minus 1. Maybe you look at that. Problem is, you got a 5-0. With moderate juice, you still have a pretty strong ROI if that thing cashes. Not CLV ROI. If that thing cashes, could you potentially be leaving some on the table? Sure. Let me just take a peek at what the plus 1 is here. Let me check this out. I'm in the Avalanche, though. It's a bounce-back spot. Not only is it a bounce-back spot, but, man, they were battling, and they were screwed in that last game. So you know they're going to want to get that. They're going to want to go back out there and fire up. Probably fire up early. Ottawa's a tough team, though. They can certainly battle, and battle they had. Now, did they run out of gas, or did they bounce back themselves is the question here. But you can catch the Avalanche at plus 117 on the regulation play. -1 is plus 126. I'd probably take the -1 versus regulation. That way you do have overtime in your back pocket. If they score and win, you push. I don't think the -1's the play. I think if you're going to take these guys, you got to take the -1.5. If you're going to go that, if you're going to lay the puck, you might as well lay the extra hook on there as well for that 5-0. But I'm just going to take the official money line play for me. It's a flat number. It's a reasonable number. And I think it's good money for us to get paid here with the early Colorado Avalanche looking to bounce back on their East Coast road trip. There's two big trends on two big games out there for you guys. The favorites roll that cashed last night with the Minnesota Wilds back in play with the Rangers. And Colorado sitting there on a 5-0 trend with a 5-0 puck line. I got to dig the numbers up for this one because we got the Panthers and we got it Thursday. We got Bobrovsky starting on the Florida Panthers side of the net with a 28-15-2 record, 2.63 goals against average, and a 90.6% save percentage. Elvis Merzlikins. Yeah, Merzlikins. I can't pronounce Merzlikins by now. Maybe shouldn't be taking betting advice from him. 22-18-4. That's going to come back to bite me at some point. I'm going to butcher some names so bad you guys are going to be like, why are we taking betting advice from you? 3.04 goals against average and 89.6% save percent. But I put myself out there, so I get it. I understand it. Panthers are on a little skid, a little playoff skid. Them Ice Cats getting a little exhausted after the deep run that they've had the last couple of seasons. They're 0-2 in their last two. Trying to bounce back against the Blue Jackets. Bounce back, Bobrovsky versus the Blue Jackets. Bounce back, Bobrovsky beats the Blue Jackets. Probably sounds the most appropriate in the alliteration. Bobrovsky does come off of a 3 goals on 15 shots performance against the Montreal Canadiens. Not his best. Not his best at all. It's got to be harder, though, as a goaltender not to get a lot of shots and have to stop them versus if you're getting peppered. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you're getting 50 shots put on you. You're in play. You're focused. You're dialed in. You're only getting 15 shots on you. Like, you get a little tight. Get a little tight in that net. And the Blue Jackets have been getting busted up. They're getting outscored 10-1 in their last 3 games. That puts them at 0-3. They've lost 4 straight. Trying to get Merzlikins in the way here. He did allow 3 goals on 28 shots in his last game. It was a shutout loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. And it's a Thursday, and we take the Florida Panthers unders on Thursday. The play's back. We've talked about it like the last 4 weeks. Last 4 weeks, we've talked about this Panthers on a Thursday and an under, and we haven't gotten to the window with it. Actually, I think we did last week. So we're going to go back to it again tonight. I know it's a day of the week cap, but it's a thing. And they play a lot on Thursdays. So you got a big trend that's hitting at over 80% on a Thursday. What, are we not going to take advantage of that money that's sitting out there trying to give it to us? I know the Columbus Blue Jackets started the season off and they were a high-scoring team, especially at home. But all things come back to the median. They all come back to the middle. In some cases, you have positive regression or you just have regression. And I think Columbus is in regression mode. By the way, that's another young team that we've talked about earlier. These young teams start to gas out when it gets to this point of the season. And that's what we're seeing evidenced by those numbers. If you can't make sense of those numbers, I'll tell you. The reason they're getting blanked and getting outscored is because they got young legs on that ice and they're playing games 65 and 70 for the first time in their professional careers. It's a true thing. Last game, we'll talk about the Canadiens and the Islanders. In a battle of boring. It's probably the best way I would describe this one here. As I'm looking at these two teams, we got the Islanders still trying to push for wild card. You know, they're going to be battling with the Rangers to see exactly what they can do in that position. And the other side of things, you have the Canadiens, who in their own right have been firing. Sammy Montembeault, the number 1, will start for the Montreal Canadiens. Montembeault. Yep. And Sorokin will start for the Islanders. Yep. There's a couple of names for you. 24-21-4. 2.9 goals against average and 89.7% save percentage for Sammy Montembeault. Sorokin, 26-20-5. 2.78 goals against average and 90.6% save percentage. We just talked about the Canadians busting up the Ottawa Senators, busting up that win streak that they had going there. 6 straight games comes to a halt because of La Habitants. And Montebal's been phenomenal. 2.09 goals against average. So you overlay his season's 2.9. He's at 2.09. His season's at 89.7%. He's at 92.2%. That's over 8 games, and he's 7-0-1. He's playing phenomenal. Islanders, they're coming into this thing on a 2-game winning streak. Sorokin, yeah, okay. What you got? You got to go with the horse that got you there. He saved 19 of 21. That was a 4-2 win against the Penguins. We were on the Penguins. We were on the Islanders, and we were on the under. We pushed the under. We cashed the Islanders. Penguins are an old team. 4-2, it stayed under. 2.72 goals against average. Okay. Canadians 7-1-2 in their last 10 games. The respected sharp action has been coming in on the under for this game. It's a low number already at 5.5, but we're catching 5.5 at some nice plus money. 2-1, 3-1 type of feel in this game. Not sure about the side. I guess if I had a free roll, I would take the Canadians. In fact, you got 34% of the bets and 90% of the cash on the Canadians. The lines come down from plus 130 to plus 124. I do see 6s out there, actually. Let me see. I get. You can follow my action at BetStamp. I'm at Mikey Money at BetStamp. Under 6. Nope. Under 5.5 at plus 100. Even money for me at Bet Rivers on under 5.5. There are some 6s out there. Shop around. I did get the 6 in that Columbus, Florida game. So official 4 plays in the NHL. The Rangers in the under 5.5. That's a plus 263. The Avalanche minus 120. The Panthers and the Blue Jackets under 6. The Canadians and the Islanders under 5.5. And full disclosure, I looked at the entire NHL card. I was hard pressed to find an over. Maybe Utah, Buffalo. Maybe. But there's that situation where you got Buffalo with the young boys. Got the kids on the ice trying to figure things. They're seeing it all for the first time. And a long road trip. By the way, what I thought was pretty cool, if you guys haven't seen it, if you are a Utah hockey fan, the owner of Utah announced that the Utah television network, whatever they put their hockey game. I don't watch a lot of, full disclosure, I don't watch Utah hockey games, but I'll watch highlights. Whatever that network is that they host those games on, they're allowing for the rest of the season and the first round of the playoffs for $1. You can watch every single game for $1. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, way to give back to the people. That's the good boy theory. Good boy. You're such a good boy. Right? That's their back home. And that's giving them a little motivation and boost. They're trying to get the fans excited. They did extend the naming rights only on the Mammoth, if you're keeping track at home. So they let the Yeti go. They let, I forgot what else. They let that, whatever it was, they let that go too. They did extend the Mammoth. Front runner now to be the Utah Mammoth as they move forward. So there you go. Shout out to Jose Bouquet. What's up, Jose Bouquet? I better get acknowledged, Mike. I see you, Jose Bouquet. The airport taxi picked you. Goddamn right it did. What a man. Jose Bouquet's in the house. Jose, I hope you're having fun, my friend. Good for you guys. Rocking down there at Southtown 101. I think I do owe him a mistake. I might owe him 2 steaks, as a matter of fact. Kill the kill. I couldn't get a market to call him the Yeti. Look at Jose Bouquet in the house, man. It gets me jacked up. Jose, I hope you're having fun, man. You're a good lad, as they say out there. He was definitely taxi, man. Nuke came with me as well. Nuke came with Jose to pick me up as well. Is your boy going? Is our boy going? Is Maddie going? That's what I want to know. We're wrapping up. We're getting through it. Let's go. I got 2 games in college hoops for you guys. Who wants the link? We got Drake in Missouri popping off here. This is going to be the big feature game, 7:35. Action, and more action. What a March Madness we've had. We already talked about this in the onset. Georgia, SEC getting slaughtered right now by the Zags. Wofford in Tennessee. I would lead to Tennessee. I saw some big numbers on these teams that are under 19.5 points in their top ranked teams in the first round of the tournaments put boot to ass. I would lean that direction. I very much like Arkansas as well. Texas A&M line has come down against Yale. Man, Yale is catching some action. People looking at this Yale team, it makes sense. The way that they shoot the ball, their perimeter, not just the way that they go out there and chuck the three around. We saw the overs, the dominance of the overs in the Ivy League throughout the, specifically the second half of the conference play. But what they do defensively is they force teams to take ugly, awkward perimeter shots. And I think that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for these Aggies, this Texas A&M Aggies team. So I'm looking forward to watching that game live. You know, I've got my Aggies future. We'll see if that's going to come to fruition or at least get me through the first fucking round. Drake and Missouri will pop off at 7:35, and this is the Styles Makes Fight game of the night, in my opinion here. You know, you got a team in Drake. First of all, let's get this back together. Let's get back to neutral here. Let's get some trends for you guys on some, or let's get the cash flow splits going. Huh? Let's talk that first. You know, as far as that Wofford game in Tennessee, 40% of the bets, but 54% of the cash coming in on Tennessee. Arkansas has moved from 4.5 to 5s. We're starting to see it come back to some 4.5s for that Arkansas Hogs game. I like them Pigs, man. I think them Pigs are going to give that Kansas team some fits tonight. And there's that Yale Aggies game, has moved from 7.5 down to 7s, down to 6.5s. And you got some pretty strong buy coming in. You got 99,000 tickets. Man, look at these ticket counts. You got 100,000 tickets on that Arkansas-Kansas game. You got 99,800 tickets on this Yale and Aggies game. And then here we go to Drake. Drake's moved from 5.5 to 6. And that's called reverse line movement, because with 99,800 tickets, we have 71% of the bets and 68% of the cash on Drake. And it's moved from 5.5 to 6. This total's gone from 132.5 to 133.5. You got 93% of the bets and 93% of the cash on the over. I'm going to keep my eyes on this one. This is the where's my paper? 7:35 start. This is a candidate for the 15-minute window. The 15-minute window factor with a 133.5 and reverse line movement. The under's catching steam right now. It's minus 115, despite the action coming in on the over. This could very well be that game that pops off, gets us to 142, and we fucking hammer the under like it owes us money. Like it's a baby seal and it's waiting to be clubbed. Missouri sitting there at 5.5 is the spot that I got to get involved with this one here, because I think this team is just battle tested. They're in a situation where they're playing a Drake team. If you want to talk about some Drake numbers right off the hop, let's talk about the fact that Drake's been in the tournament. Of the 20 years in recent form, Drake's made the tournament 5 times. 5. Cinco. They are over against the spread in the tournament. It's their style that just doesn't seem to translate to playing against Power 5 conferences. And if you need some validation around the totals or the numbers, here's a little March Madness gift for you guys. When they're between -5 and 6.5, tight little window. We're not talking about the 2s, right? We talked about 2s bookending the number. The books aren't entirely sure where to put those guys. Take a look at what happened with Louisville earlier today. 2.5. Now it did move to 3.5, but the dog comes out and starts barking. Now you could say the same thing with that VCU BYU game, right? 2.5 points. The favorite comes out there and clobbers. There's a lot of coin flippiness in those 2s. But if you took the dog in both those spots, you're up. Negligible profit, but you're up. You can't buy yourself a cocktail with it, but you are certainly up. Drake, Missouri, when the line's between 5 and 6.5 in March Madness. March Madness. That son of a bitch is on a 9-1 run in its last 10. It's 34-6 overall in 40 games. 40 games. The -5.5 to -5 to 6.5 gets her done. And you know what that puts back in play? The Aggies. The Aggies get put back in play because that line came down from 7 to 6.5. So we'll keep our eyes on it. Steam at -118 on the Aggies. My official play is going to be this Missouri spot. I like the 5.5. I'll lay that number. I think these boys are going to come out there fast-paced. You know, Missouri's kind of been under the bright lights before, and we know that Drake certainly has a difficulty traveling to the big spots and showing up in the big games. Now, you know, with all due respect, you know, a nice little run to end their season off. You know, they covered as a dog. They do certainly battle when the chips are stacked against them. They're 6-0 in that dog spot. 6-0. Excuse me. And Missouri kind of had the wheels fall off at the end of the year. They did beat Mississippi State, but they lost to the public favorite, Trisha M's Florida Gators. They got busted. They got thumped. They got absolutely thumped. And Drake went on a big stretch to close the year out. So I don't want to dismiss that finish that Drake's had out there, but look at the statistical categories here, kind of top to bottom. There's edges completely across the board for this Missouri team. I think the SEC, there's a reason they got, 14 teams in the conference this year. They're battle tested. They played tougher opponents. They're ready to roll. I'm taking myself some. Yeah. I'm taking myself some. I saw the baby seal waiting to be clubbed. Who am I supposed to be sending the link to? Who's supposed to get the link? I got 10 minutes and then we're going live, boys. Safe travels, fellas. Let's see if I'll send you guys a link. You guys want to check in? We got to be tight. Let me see. I got We'll see what good can come of this. ZC says, I like Drake till I saw DK has a boost on them to win at plus 300. -5 to 6.5. We'll keep our, remember, there's two things that we're tracking here. -5 to 6.5. Those have been 9-1 in their last 10. And we're looking for games that have started 15 minutes later than their originally scheduled time. 15 minutes or more have been hitting to the under at around 70% clip. That's another one that we're going to look to live bet when they move up 10 points from the original number. So we're looking for a 143.5 on this Missouri game to be able to, I don't know why the 10's out. The 10's just a number in my head that says we get 10 more points than it started. That's just an arbitrary lever that I'm pushing on the 10 there, if you will. So we'll do that. We'll roll on. Let's go. We've got the UCLA battle here. The Bruins against Utah State. Bruins and Utah State popping off. This is a 9:25 start. There's another candidate for the 15-minute late window, and it's at 144.5 right now on the total. 144.5. What do we have with the line? Well, guess what? 5 to 6.5. This thing fits right in there at 5.5. We're right back in the ball game. Kind of a coin flip as far as the side. 51% of the bets, 47% of the cash on Utah State. Negligible move. No move, in fact. Zero move. Games just popped off. And so as I'm looking at these, they all shuffled around. As far as the total is concerned, 74% of the bets and 69% of the cash are on the over. We've got no move there either. In fact, it's still shaded to the 144.5, but you can see some 144s out there with no juice. So it's still pretty much a 144.5. So we're not getting much movement. If anything, reverse movement on the total. Selected these games for a couple of reasons, and I do believe that we have two trends that we want to be watching here. One's the 5.5 or 5 to 6.5. The other's the 15-minute late window. We also have a situation where you got a strong defense and a team that can shoot the ball. That's going to be problematic for a team like Utah State. Now, overall, when the spread's between 3 and 9.5, teams seeded between, up to a 5-point differential in their seedings. Strong three-point shooting team that plays strong defense are 60 and 25. Beatdown City. It's just outmatched. Top to bottom. You got the better coach. Cronin's going to be out there fucking writing away on his whiteboard like you never see. You're going to see smoke coming off of that thing because he's going to be chalking up all kinds of diagrams and everything else that they need to do to get this thing rolling. On top of that, look, team's got a good, when they're a favorite for a reason. They're 14-9-1 against the spread. And you can't argue two things. One, I kind of thought early in the season, the Big Ten with the travel, East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, would those legs get tired? We didn't see that with this UCLA team. Now, they lost to Wisconsin, but we just saw Wisconsin belt the ass, right? So didn't cover the first half, over. But they did win the game. They did get the cover. And Wisconsin's a strong team. They're a formidable opponent. They got ranked higher than Michigan, who won the Big Ten. And my point around all of that here is they're 3-2 in their last 5, both against the spread and straight up. That's a team that's battle-hardened. Playing tough teams, playing strong defenses. This is the difference. You're a defensive-oriented team, and you're playing in the Big Ten where they play strong defense. You're going to kick the shit out of them, boys. It sounds like we have a guest. Let me bring our guest on screen. It's been a minute since we've had a guest on screen. Let's get these boys in.
Howdy, Mikey.
What up? What's going on?
What's going on? Let me dip that out there, boys. How we doing?
We're doing pretty good, Mikey. How are you?
The taxi's en route. I see. Are you headed to the airport or heading back from the airport?
Back from.
Who'd you pick up?
Yeah, look at the fucking old Troy Torrance.
I finally made it, Mike. A hell of a day. Hell of a day today.
Oh, yeah. Man, it feels like my trip last year. We had to get off the plane because they were having hydraulic issues.
Yeah, fucking Troy got fucked up by some snow in Chicago. The whole damn thing, Mikey.
Oh, man. Planes, trains, and automobiles, boys?
Yes, that is exactly what our friend Jimmy the Bag said. But yes, Mike, we were just talking about you. We said we missed you. And then I wanted to just come and fucking fuck up your show. So here I am.
Well, check the box, man. Great job.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. What are we on today, Mikey, out of curiosity?
I'm rocking with UCLA and I'm rocking with Missouri. Those are two big spots that I'm getting involved with tonight.
Okay, beautiful. Troy's on UCLA. Nate's on UCLA.
All right.
And I have UCLA in brackets, so I'll be betting them now.
All right. Sadly, I had Clemson to win the whole thing, and they got busted up. So.
What? Oh, my God. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, the ACC is soft, man. They're soft. Louisville, Clemson.
Yeah, you don't got to tell us, Mikey. We didn't fucking pick them to win the fucking whole thing.
BYU was good money.
Yeah. By the way, you're getting the full, like, we're driving, doing the whole thing right now, Mikey. So I hope you enjoy this.
Look at this. We got Nasty Nate's up in there. We got Troy Torrance. Benny Bombs in the back?
And he's back here.
Penny Bombs.
Benny Bombs, baby. I guess you won't be joining us live tonight, Benny.
Yeah, so we miss you, Mikey, and we hope to see you very soon.
Well, that's very nice of you guys. I appreciate the dial in here while you're driving. Drive safely if you passed UTSA yet.
Thank you. We will. I'm an excellent driver, Mikey. Like I've had you on my phone and my hand right now. This is expert level shit you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, you got me on the phone, sat in the lap. I mean, you've done it all, man. Check the box. Are you guys going to Retama?
On Sunday, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll see you very soon, Mikey.
Sounds good, man. I'll see you boys soon. Being safe. Good luck. Let's get that UCLA money, fellas. Have a good time.
Yes, I'll be thinking about you tonight then. I'll see you.
See you guys. Nice little dial-in from the fellas. Nice of them to keep me on their mind while they're down there doing their thing. Yeah, let's go. So, Mr. Tomatoes wants to get back to the capping. You got some extra plays there, boys. You got some UCLA validation from, it sounds like a panel consensus on the fly. Okay, let's go. Let's get this last two games here. Bulls facing off here against them. Sacramento Kings. Sacramento popping off. Big game last night. Screwed up a lot of parlays, as we heard. I told you guys kind of my rundown here. I like Charlotte, man. 9-8. So you got reverse line movement. It's moving the direction you want if you're looking at Charlotte. But they stink. I like the over in the Raptors and Warriors game. Sharp respected betting coming in on that over as well. I'm taking the Bulls. We got this line has moved from 6.5. Depending on where you're at, you see some 7s and some 6s. So you got to shop around depending on the side you want to get involved with. 59% of the bets, 60% of the cash are on the Bulls. 237.5 dropped to 235. 91% of the bets, 92% of the cash on the over in this Bulls and Kings game. And I think probably the big story, I don't know if it's the big story, but kind of the way I looked at this game is, hey, we got this Bulls team is kind of back and ready to roll. Vucevic was the big guy. We know this has been our guy in our stable from a rebounding perspective. And, he's back. Now, he hasn't been getting his numbers. He's been averaging 9.8 rebounds a game. He's down to 6 since he's been back. Giddey is questionable. If Giddey doesn't go, that forces Vucevic to be in that rebounding three-pointer role, I think, to some degree. Defensive rebounds and three-pointers. We know Sabonis is a walking double-double. I'm looking at this game, though. And, yeah, we see Cleveland plays yesterday against them Sacramento Kings, and 6.5 points didn't matter. They come out there and they win the game outright by a 4-pack. sitting here on their third home game. This will be their third game in 4 nights. Those are the dangerous spots to be when you're in the NBA. We know that. We've seen that time and again. This will be the 4th game for the Bulls on the road. It has been their West Coast or Southwest trip, Utah, Houston, and the Phoenix Suns. They beat up the bad teams. They struggle against the good teams. They busted up Utah 111-97 as a 4.5-point favorite. They covered 4 in a row, which is great for us because a little bit of that win got taken out of the sails against that Phoenix Suns team by way of the fact that they lost. They didn't cover the spread. They lost by 6. They were getting 5.5s. They didn't get the job done. I guess it depends on when you got in on the action overall here. But look, we got the gas out factor. Pretty straightforward gas out. You fade a team that's on the second leg of a back-to-back after they score a shitload of points. And you're 230 and 158 in those spots. You got 390 game sample showing 230 wins to fade them boys. That's what I love about having a nice vested situation here. And look at, talk about a bounce back. When you were a favorite and you lost, and you're a road dog, that's getting the win taken out of the sails. That's deflating the football just a little bit to give us a better number. And those teams are 70 and 35. That's a 2-1. That's a 66% winning edge on that road dog situation. With a healthy squad coming back and a restless, tired legs Kings team, give me some Chicago Bulls. We'll take doesn't matter. I think the wrong team's favorite, frankly. It doesn't matter what you get for the points perspective. I've got 7.5 in that one. But like I said, shop around because you can find 7s, you can find 6s, even if you're thinking about the Kings side of things. I strongly recommend not looking at the Kings in that game. I do believe the wrong team is favored out there, and I think you can catch some really good pricing if you look at this NBA side of things here. Just a couple minutes left for this last game. We'll talk Bucks and Lakers, and then we'll get you guys out the door and on your way to the live stream, which will pop off at 7:15. Oops, every time I share the screen, someone's got to remind me. Someone's got to remind me. Shout out to Lexicon, says Sports Money. Zoe says, wow, might have to take a money line shot. I think so. Mr. Tomatoes. Appreciate you, my dude. Okay, guys, listen, last game on the card. And then we're going to cover a bunch of games today. You're going to get a bunch of cappers talking about a bunch of spots that they want to get involved with while we watch our Missouri kick the ass out of them boys. Bucks and Lakers. Look, this is who's playing and who's not. The Bucks need to win. They got another team, second leg of a back-to-back. Lakers just played. The last time they were in that situation, we took them against Golden State. They got busted up. This got only 14 games left on the schedule. The Bucks have now lost 2 in a row. They've lost 5 of their last 10. Step the fuck up. Wake up, Milwaukee Bucks. The Lakers have been busting teams. They dominated again last night. Luka, look, fucking guy's doing what he does. And unfortunately for the Lakers, I think that was their situation if you're playing chess in the scheduling. No Jamal Murray, no Jokic, and yet they go out there and the Lakers just thumped them. Milwaukee's a half a game back from 4th place, and that's the Pacers. Only a half a game ahead of the Pistons. It's all on the table right now for this Milwaukee Bucks team. And you should expect to see the Lakers resting players. So that's kind of the way I looked at this game. This line's moved a ton. This line's moved from 3 to 7. We know Doc Rivers is a loser. That's a fact. That's a fact. If anybody can say it, it's me with what I watched him do in Philadelphia. -1.5s, now -7s though. Again, it's just it's a rest factor here. I mean, the line doesn't matter. The line's come down 8 points on the total from 227.5 down to 219.5. And we're going to go down to this lineup injury report. We're going to see the who's who of who's playing. Dorian Finney-Smith is doubtful. He's a fucking scrub. Maxi Kleber, Luka out. Vanderbilt doubtful. I like taking Vanderbilt's under in his points because he's a scrub. Gabe Vincent, probable. Rui. Haven't seen an update on Rui. Cam Reddish, doubtful. Austin Reeves, out. Bucks. Need this game. You're going to get everything they got from it, and that's what you want to do is try to find a team that's going to give you everything, and they can't certainly spare anything. They got to go out there and bust this team up by double digits, cruise wire to wire. They can't be battling back here. We've had massive movement on this line because of the lack of players playing. We did see that with the Nuggets, that it didn't matter who was playing. They still found a way, but Zoe says Rui's out and LeBron's out. Yeah, it's a hammer spot. It's a hammer spot. We're going to do it. That's the way we're going to close this show. Put this game on ice. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to come back here in just a few minutes. In about 10 minutes, as a matter of fact. We'll pop off. We'll go live. Talk about some of these college basketball games. Get into the action with the fellas. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button on your way out the door. And we'll see you guys real soon.